Hey everyone, welcome back for another edition of Cafecito in Conversation, and I'm excited to have you all meet my guest, Paulina, and we're just gonna go ahead and dive in. I'm gonna have her introduce herself and have her say a little bit about who she is and what she does. Go for it, Paulina.
Hola, hola, hola a todos. So my name is Paulina Castrellon. I'm an environmental health and safety engineer, better known as a EHS engineer. I'm a first generation Latina and very excited and very pumped to be having this conversation, and a proud feminist as well.
Love it. Well, thank you for being here. So much has happened in the last 24 hours. But before we dive into it, I love asking everybody, just because our show is called Cafecito in Conversation, how many cups of coffee, tea, or beverage of choice do you have every morning? As you can see, I have my little go-to coffee set go cup right here.
Oye, so let's get down to cafe, porque I'm trying to kind of cut back on the coffee intake. I will have 3 coffees a day. So I have one in the morning because I wake up as early as like 3:30, 4 o'clock a.m. I have one at around noon, and then I have one at 3 o'clock, which is my coffee o'clock. But I'm trying to cut down to 2 and then cut down to 1. If not, I'm always drinking tons of water. But I love cafe, like a good cafe con leche. Like I'm pumped. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I like that coffee o'clock. I never really thought about it.
Because 3 o'clock, it's that crunch time where everyone is like getting ready to go home, right? And at 3 o'clock, like you get tired, you get draggy, and I'm by the monitor, by the computer, like my eyes hurt. So I'm like, okay, let me go get me some cafe. Let me wake up. And then by the time I'm out by like 5:36, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So awesome. And I just have to acknowledge that we are completely live. And so sometimes things pop up. And right now, I don't know if you heard it, my Alexa started talking. started talking. So I'm like, I have to mute so she can calm down here. I think she got a little passionate about the coffee conversation.
I do feel.
Oh my goodness. So I want to start off, Paulina, by asking you first, like, what led you to your field right now? Because I feel like you're a complete inspiration to the field, and there's not a lot of Latinas in STEM. And I was going through some statistics, which I won't get into right now, but it's very minimal. And so I was like, I have to ask her, like, how did you even come across that field?
So it's really interesting because when I graduated high school, I had to go to college. Like that was the only thing that my parents said. Like you have to go to college in order to get out of like the hood or just have a better life. So I had this mindset like, okay, pues like I'm gonna go to college. I didn't know what STEM was. I liked science, but I didn't really think about getting into the science field. No one in my family went to college. No one in my family has a STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, education or background. I actually went to Cal State University, Northridge, here in Southern California, and I went in, enrolled with communications and journalism. I really wanted to work for Telemundo. I really wanted to be like the next Anthony Bourdain. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be on TV. Yeah, I was like, you know what? Everyone thinks like I'm a character, but like that was my thing. I wanted to do that.
Right.
However, I started to connect with other people, and they're like, no, you have to know people to work at Telemundo. You have to look a certain way. I was getting a lot of critics and criticism about it. And my big thing was like, I have to make money, like I have to pay my bills. And that was another thing. I was doing everything by myself. Mm-hmm. So money in my head was a big thing because I'm paying for everything by myself. Fast forward, I had to take an elective. It was called EOH 101. It was part of an undergrad elective that I had to do. This elective is called Environmental Occupational Health. And I instantly fell in love with it. It was like this combination of like engineering and public health and medicine combined, but I never heard of it. I never knew what it was. I kind of got an idea, and I really like the idea of helping people. I'm very much a person who gravitates helping and being with people. I'm a people person, right?
Okay.
So I asked the director, like, Oje, like, what is this? How do I get a job? Can I pay my bills? Will I make it? Things like that, right? And the director was like, yeah, you could do this, you could do that. Okay, cool. So again, nobody in my family has the STEM background. Like, I went to my family, my parents, and my parents were supportive. Like they were like, yeah, mija, pero at the same time, they're like, do it, do whatever you want to do. Like that's on you. And at the time, I was dating this dude, my high school sweetheart. He was a civil engineer going to Cal State LA. Like, no shade. I'm whatever he does in life, I'm happy for him. But as a civil engineer, I wanted to just pick at his brain because I didn't have anybody else to really talk to. So I was like, hey, like, you know, so and so, like, what do you think of this? And he was looking at it and he was just like, you can't do it. And I thought to myself, why can't I do it? And he was like, no, like, you're gonna waste your money, you're gonna waste your time, you're gonna start and then you're gonna fail. Like, you can't do it. You're not gonna finish. Like, you don't ever finish something that you start. And I got really mad. I got really hurt by it because I actually found something that I was passionate about. I found something that really sparked a fire in me. And I cannot explain why or how. And I just looked at him and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back to you later. So boom, afuera se va, done, cut him. Went to my family and I was like, look, does everybody understand I'm gonna be the president of Crazy Town because I'm gonna go for it. Like, I'm gonna do it. And not only did I get enroll in environmental occupational health, but I did a double major with industrial hygiene, a specialized focus. Yeah. So at the time, you know, again, doing everything on my own. I was commuting at first and then like looking for places to live. I mean, it was a struggle. And I would just tell myself consistently, like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. And in my course, there was no Latinas, Latinos. It was a lot of Armenians, Persians. So like I gravitated towards them. So I have all my Armenian friends. I love them.
Yeah.
But I always felt too like alone because I didn't have anybody who spoke Spanish. I only had one female professor at the time. And Dr. Nola Kennedy, I love her. And she was the only one I could really go to for advice from a woman's standpoint in STEM. Otherwise, from that, there's nobody. Like, no. And then not only that, I also did Chicano studies. So that I felt is very important to talk about because I was doing this STEM and I was doing Chicano studies. And the professor I had at CSUN, Zokio Tenerera, I love him. Amazing. He was like, what are you doing in my class, mujer? And I was like, I like this. Like, I want to learn about my identity, my culture. I identify as a Latina. I identify as a proud Chicana. And taking Chicano studies, taking the environmental aspects, combining them, and then using it for my senior projects to talk about like environmental racism, how, you know, STEM affects the community of Latinx, how the community is affected in Los Angeles County through science in the Chicano world. Oh man, I went to town. I loved it.
Girl,
something that's
language. Yes.
You know, if you go to my social media page, I have a lot of emotions. I want to help. I want to make a difference. I want to see a better world. I want a better planet. And I mean, that is my job. Like, I'm an environmentalist. My job is to be put in a dangerous situation and fix it. Make it safe. Make it safe for you. Make it safe for your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, your family. So they go home safe at the end of the day. That's my job.
Girl, drop the mic.
Woo,
fire there, right there. I love it all. And so give us a little bit of a taste of the things that you found while you were studying. You know, you mentioned like, you know, environmental racism, like in LA, like what does that look like?
Ooh, so this is a perfect one. So when I was taking Chicano studies, we were talking about racism within our own culture, racism within the community, you know, being in Los Angeles, being in Northridge, being in the San Fernando Valley. I grew up in Pacoima, you know, a lot of large Hispanic community, Latino community, Latinx community. I grew up right around Richie Valens Park. That was my park. I would hang out. And we were just talking about, you know, how the community is affected. Everyone had a different perspective to bring on racism, but I thought, you know what, nobody talked about environmental racism. Well, if you think about it, in the city of Wilmington, there's a large oil refinery factory. Did anybody ever think about, this oil refinery factory, why is it not in Beverly Hills?
Right.
Why is it not in Westwood? Why is it not in Brentwood? Why is it not on the west side? But guess what? All of these oil refinery facilities or other facilities that are in these communities of, you know, we want to say, and this is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know I'm going to get this terminology wrong and I want to use the right vocabulary, but underprivileged or a community with a lot of people of color, guess what? When you have these industries there, they are actually contributing to a lot of health effects like toxic fumes. You have noise, like people who live by the freeway, because you'll have, as myself, as a Azure EHS engineer, I will conduct noise surveys and then report and data how all of the loud noise is actually causing hearing damage to the communities nearby. I will take air samples to show proof and data collection that yes, the air that is being pumped in, you know, the air in the community, people are being affected in their bronchial, all the different types of health concerns. And endless conversations on this. And there's a lot of like nonprofit organizations that I actually participated in, communities that I started protesting with, and there's a really strong community too in East Los Angeles, I think it's called Mothers of East LA. And they talk about this. And also one dear to my heart is agricultural. I worked in agriculture. I worked in the farming industry as an engineer. And this is a big one too. They're constantly being affected by environmental hazards. Look at the fires that are happening in California. Look at this pandemic, okay? How are we protecting our, mi gente? How are we helping our Latinx community?
No, I mean, that is so powerful because I remember like about 3 years ago, I got the opportunity to tour some pockets of Bakersfield where they were really like cancerous pockets. And I remember getting a tour, and they were talking about how there was different pockets of like preschools where they had acres and acres of orchards that they would get pesticides, and they would have the airplanes fly over, and then they were talking about how that was affecting that community and how it evolved to that cancerous pocket. And so I love that you had mentioned that, because it took a long time for me to figure out that this is real. This is happening. It's been happening. And it's just like, if you have one piece of advice for someone who was young that was interested in this field, like, how would you say that, or should I say, what would be the one tip that you can say to them to bring about change?
Find your passion. Find what sparks your interest. Find what you love, because what you love, somebody else might not like. Everybody has their own niche. My niche, me, myself, and I love to help people. Maybe I'm a loquita, but that's my passion. That's my niche. Maybe you love food. Maybe you want to have your own restaurant. Maybe you're an artist and you are better at showing your artwork. Maybe you are a business person and you are great with business and showing Excel data sheets and above and beyond. Maybe you like to work behind the lab and that's what you love. Find what sparks your interest. Don't do what your family wants you to do. Don't do what society thinks you need to do. Don't go after it because, this is what's going to make me rich. Because if you go with that mindset, it's going to make me rich, you're going to go down a rabbit hole because it doesn't come from passion. If I picked a career that was strictly based on money, I wouldn't be doing something that I love. Even if my job didn't pay me well, granted, I would still wake up every day and be like, you know what? At least I tried today and I saved somebody's life today. I contributed to that. You got to just find your passion and don't change it.
No, that is such a powerful thought, because two things kind of popped in my head when you were saying that when it comes to careers, like, the money will follow you. When you operate in serving others and for the betterment of this community, this world, like, the money will come,
Absolutely.
And it's really important to follow a career that you're passionate about, because on the flip side, if we're chasing money, and yes, it might be this amazing job, but when you're there, are you really, truly happy? That is a whole different conversation that I could have, because I feel like that is something that in school we're not taught, we're not told. We're kind of conditioned to just follow corporate America.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And I remember the first time that I had a colleague pass away. She had some health problems. Yeah. She was there in the organization way before I was. And just, out of la nada, we got the news that she passed away. And this was like a Thursday. And by Monday, her desk was cleared out and there was somebody new.
I'm so sorry to hear that. And to touch on that, I tell this to people: don't stress over a job that can replace you in a week. Remember that.
Right.
Don't stress over a job that can replace you in less than 1 week. If you think you're irreplaceable, lies.
Right. And that was just one of many things that I've encountered. So I love touching on that piece. And then also, just knowing that we have the power to channel that energy. And I it's a good segue, Paulina, to talk about how to use social media for change, because I feel like you are awesome at it, and you're able to you have that ability to like use the photography and make a statement. I'm thinking of that one specific picture that I saw with the boot and the heel. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no. So I have to give credit where credit's due. My girlfriend, Chloe, the engineer, she started this movement, this hashtag called Stomping Stereotypes. And she's a civil engineer. So, and as myself, as an environmental engineer who's worked in construction, worked in manufacturing, my life, I live in steel toe boots. Like, that's our life. And She posted this picture, and I thought to myself, oh my God, this is who we are. I can be feminine and wear my heel, wear my curly hair, my lip gloss, but I will still be this alpha dominance of wearing my steel toe boot and get the job done. And if you go to Instagram and you just type in hashtag stomping stereotypes, you will see tons of beautiful women in the STEM community who did their same post with steel toe boots or like botas with, a beautiful heel or a beautiful sparkly shoe, because that's who we are. You are two women, but we can be one. Like, we're amazing.
No, I love that. And you said that was Chloe?
Chloe, the engineer. She's awesome. She is a civil engineer. Definitely someone to follow.
Well, shout out to Chloe. I absolutely love that. I believe in the power of, that photo that makes a statement. And that's like the best example ever of how you can have social media activism. Like, I don't know if that's the correct terminology to identify that, but just the power of being able to take something that is free, that is accessible, and to make a statement, because the reach is like insane.
It is. And I was so happy to see the turnout, because we did one photo, one hashtag. I did it. I told other girls, I was like, oye, mujeres, like, I know you're out there. Put a picture. You don't even have to show your face. It's your patitas. Like, do your feet. And it was so beautiful to see.
I love it, love it, love it. So everyone, go ahead and make sure that you go take a look at the hashtag, because there's some really phenomenal photos. And Paulina, you mentioned something earlier that you really didn't have a mentor. How has that changed for you right now? Like, is there someone that kind of popped in your life that you would consider a mentor, or have you become that person?
I feel as I've been growing in the social media world, I think I'm becoming that mentor to other people. Yeah. I don't have a mentor because I really don't. Everyone that I would go to for advice, I'd end up just doing my own thing, and my own thing, doing it out of passion, it worked. So now I'm just trying, as I hit my big 30 in literally a month, I'm just trying to, right? 30 and thriving. I'm trying to encourage other women, let them know my mistakes, let them know my struggles, let them know what I did, the things that didn't work for me, in hopes that maybe you can avoid those hiccups. One big thing is, when I first graduated, was like financial debt. Nobody talked to me about like credit cards and interest rate, and it's like, no. Financial freedom is a beautiful thing. Like, work towards it. The same thing about negotiate, right? When you get your first job, negotiation. And as women, we need to have that uncomfortable conversation. I know it's a taboo talk, like, how much do you make? But we need to be open about it. How do you negotiate? How do you ask for relocation fee? How do you ask for a sign-on bonus? Insurance. Do you get put on probation for your insurance, or do you get insurance right then and there? It's me just giving that information to others so they can learn.
Right. And you said it perfectly. Those are things that nobody tells you. You kind of have to find out on your own. And I know that when I walked away from college debt, not only did I have college debt and loans, but I also had credit card debt, because, it was easy. Like, I was hungry, put it on the credit card. Needed a book, put it on the credit card. Oh,
right there.
And you know what? Sometimes that fancy, cute dress or shoes, put it on the credit card. But, right. But when you walk away and see the amount of debt that you have, it just, financial freedom is something so aligned, again, with the passion behind what you do, because it is attainable. very attainable. I had to really, when I started my entrepreneur journey, you know, I did it. I had this side hustle that turned into a small business because I wanted to pay off my student loans and my credit card debt. I got through all my debt. I paid off the BFA, the bachelor's loan. I paid off, you know, all the credit card that was attached to it by just having that side hustle. And currently I'm still paying off on my master's, but it's like financial freedom. Let me tell you, it's a beautiful thing and it feels so, so good. And that is really like, again, when to loop the thought around to when you find that mentor, that's one of the things that is beautiful, because whether there be a physical mentor, meaning you're meeting with them one-on-one in person, well, through COVID, probably virtually, but the power of social media and exactly what we're doing right now, we're giving away golden nuggets for free, like literally. Right? Using this platform to be able to have a conversation. But guess what? Like, if you don't have a notebook and a highlighter right now, I encourage you to go get
Take notes. Take notes. Take notes. Don't do my mistakes. Take notes, please.
I know. I have tons of stories that I can share of all the mistakes that I've made. And again, very much like you, really didn't have, you know, I graduated with a degree in photography and art. And so there's really not any Latina women or like really women in photography. So that, you know, in the opposite spectrum is a male dominated field. When you think of a photographer, you think of a male. And so all my professors in school were all males. There's not there's not one female, let alone a female of color. And so it was really just trying to figure it out. You know, my parents made just a little over the threshold to not get any financial aid. And mind you, my mom worked years in the cannery. You know, my dad, you know, for years has been working in lumber, just like he's a forklift driver. So nothing where there's extra crazy income coming in. And so I was that girl that had not only the Monday through Friday job on campus, I was your potato girl. If you wanted a big potato, you probably met me. And so at the little cafe, and you know, then on weekends I would work at concession stands and doing, you know, the nachos, soda, hot dogs, and all that. And you know, you get through it. But I learned along the way the power of mujeres kind of popped in and popped out of my life of, you know, being able to give me some of their gifts and, you know, kind of mentor me or redirect me. But now being able to be on the flip side and being able to, you know, offer that back is just, you know, even more amazing.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And so I feel like we have to honor someone who just passed away, our Supreme Court Justice. And I just, you know, before we jumped on and we were talking a little bit about how of a hit that is, right? And I feel like we have a lot to work to do. And I love the thought of being able to do this work to honor her and the life that, you know, she paved the way for so many females. And I feel like being a Latina, there's so much work that we need to do on top of it. And this year's an election year. There's so many things going on right now through COVID, social justice. And how would you say, and we talked a little bit about it, about creating that action. If you have any advice to give to anyone, what would that be?
Yes. All right. Get your notebook, get your pencil, get ready. Okay.
It's gonna get good.
Here we go. It's going to get good. Number 1, register to vote.
Yes.
If you are registered to vote, go check up on that and make sure that it's valid. A lot of times when you move and with COVID, information can get lost. Information needs to get updated. So number 1, register to vote or check up on your registration. Number 2, organize. If you have a great social media content, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever your social media is organized. Reach out to your friends, your family, start talking about it, start promoting it, start speaking about it. Don't stay silent, okay? Number 3, go out there and vote, whether you need to vote by mail or whether you need to vote in person. So it's just 3 things. And number 4, I'm going to add this in. This is just a tip. And I'm going to do it too. I talked about this on my social media on one of my posts that I did, and I put it right there in the caption. I'm asking everyone to just get 5 people. 5 people. Otra vez, 5 people. You can go on Instagram. You can go on TikTok. Your friends, your family. Have those uncomfortable conversations. I understand politics is messy. I understand politics can be very confusing. I understand with politics, you don't even know where the conversation begins, right? Invite someone for café. Just bring it up slowly. Ask them, are you registered to vote? Encourage them. Don't shame someone. Don't badmouth someone. I understand it's really hard times. I want to say a lot of things too, but I want to have those conversations, and I want you to be open-minded and have those conversations too, because it's up to our generation and the generation after us to start moving and making the change. And I am hopeful that this generation and the generation after us want that change, want to see that difference. So again, number 1, what did we say? Is register to vote, check up on your registrations. Number 2, organize. Number 3, go out and vote. And number 4, get 5 people. That's it, 5 people. I'm gonna do it with you guys because I want to see more people out there.
Right. Ooh, girl, let me tell you, fire right there. No. So simple. And that's the point, that action can be simple, very attainable, but also powerful. And it all starts with voting. And if there's anything that needs to be highlighted, it's that word, right?
Yes, and this is another thing. So in the Latinx community, I'm going to throw it out there. There's a lot of false information going on. If you speak Spanish, it is your responsibility as a Spanish speaker to educate those who are getting that false information. Shut down that fake news. I'm trying to do my best too. I'm probably like Selena, I'm going to say muy excited. So if you're better at Spanish, help us. If you speak French, help us. If you speak Portuguese, help us. This is your time to advocate, speak up, stand up, and support. Use your beautiful talents in encouraging others.
And if you don't know where to start, there is so many opportunities out there that when they pop up, just grab them. You know, I recently, there's one thing that was on my bucket list that it's been there for a very long time is to speak at the Women's March. And so, yes, right, girl, yes. And you know, there's a smaller version of it coming up in October at 2 towns down from where I live. And I saw the post, and and this is the power of social media. Again, just sent a DM, are you looking for speakers? Yes. Awesome. How can I sign up? Complete. Like, you should have heard me. I was ecstatic because that is an opportunity to keep this message at the forefront, and I just want to use that as an example because it's like, I've always heard, I don't know what to do. I'm just one person, or, there's nobody there to guide me. I don't know where to look. Opportunities are all around us, and they're just waiting for you to take them. And what's the first thing? If you ask and somebody says no, okay, just move on. There'll be plenty more of opportunities. And so, Paulina, I love that it's simple, actionable steps that you gave. And literally, like, right now, if you're listening or watching us, just make the simple commitment to start there.
Yeah.
Because
it's easy. It's not a lot of steps. And if you feel, uneasy with COVID going on, you don't even have to leave your bed. I don't have to even leave my bed. The comfort of social media and the internet, have those conversations. Have them. Just have them.
Yeah, and that's really where it starts, just the power of a conversation. And I feel like this is why I wanted to start these little cafecitos and conversations. And I shouldn't say little because they're freaking powerful.
We're strong. We're powerful. We're loud. You're going to hear us.
Definitely. And I know that there's a lot to talk about. I know that I still want to dive in with STEM with you, but we are completely running out of time and wanting to honor your time and the time of our viewers and listeners. And so if there's anything that we didn't touch on that you want to kind of share with us, please do right now. And then also, can you follow that with your social media handles?
Yeah. So one thing I definitely want to leave this message with, and this is something that I always mention, if you're someone right now who feels uneasy going on with current events, with police violence, with what's going to happen with the Supreme Court, with maybe what's going on outside in your neighborhood and community, just know that this is temporary. This is not permanent. Don't stress yourself sick. Speak to a friend. Speak to someone. September, I believe, is National Awareness Suicide Month. So this is very important. Mental health is very important. I like to advocate on that and talk about that. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health. Check yourself. Turn off the internet if you need to. Sometimes I have to do that too. Don't feel guilty, right? It's okay. Find that space. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, if you want to just talk about engineering, environmental engineering, chemical engineering, I am in aerospace. You have questions on aerospace. If you have questions on how to vote or just advocating things in general, please contact me at Paulina Castrellon. It's my first and last name, very simple, at Instagram. And send me a message. I will get back to you as soon as I can. We can talk via email. We can even set up a Zoom, and let's make a change together.
Yes, girl. Yes. Where can everyone connect with you?
So again, connect with me at Paulina Castrellon on Instagram. You can find me there. Shoot me a DM. Go look at my posts if you're curious to know a little bit more about what I do. If you're going to see a lot of advocating, that's who I am. And I hope to see you guys there. And I hope you have questions. Like I said, let's make change.
Love it. Let's make change. And with that note, we will leave you, and we'll make sure to add Paulina's social media handles and how you can connect with her on the chat and information down below this podcast. And with that, signing off. See you next time. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.